scientific unification. Grant unification of sciences of interactions of nature and humans. No one understood scientific unification until you watch this video. Western definitions of unification. We pick two examples here, Google AI and Wikipedia. All others are similar. Both are subjective definitions of unification. It tells you what is unification subjectively. Objective definition of anything doesn't tell you what is that. It tells you what are the requirements and the standard to meet for something to be unification. In this case, what are the requirements for unification? Number one, purpose of unification has to be clear. It's a unification equal and fair for everyone and all beliefs. Second, scope of unification has to be objective scope, include everything, means include interactions of nature and human. All of them in scope for unification. Third, the method has to be quantitative description of unification. And lastly, scientific standard for unification has to be a single standard to determine what is and is not unification by the requirements. Now, based on that, we can tell the current unification described in Google AI, from Google AI and Wikipedia is a mathematical unification. It's an existing unification. The outcome of that is standard model, very well-known standard model. It is unification of mathematical beliefs of three interactions of nature: electromagnetic interaction, weak interaction, and strong interactions of nature for one mathematical belief, which is quantum field theory. So it's unified by a single mathematical standard, quantum field theory, for one mathematical belief. So it is mathematical unification. The outcome of that is the standard model. Now, what is scientific unification? The new one. As we said, requirements for objective definition of unification tells you the requirements and standard. It's unification of science of interactions of nature and science of interactions of humans for all beliefs. So the first requirement for the purpose of all beliefs here captured, and the scope is interactions of nature and interactions of humans, everything included, nothing excluded. Objective scope. Third, quantitative method, science of interaction of nature is a quantitative method, and science of interactions of humans from peace science is also quantitative description of interactions of humans. So it is single scientific standard unified by single scientific standard, which is standard of multipolarity for all beliefs. The outcome of scientific unification is multipolar science. Now, translate the objective definition of the requirements into scientific definition in the form of model. First, define unification for all beliefs. That first model. It's multipolar unification of a neutral coexistence of all beliefs of unification. That's multipolar unification, scientific unification. We also define the control environment. That's unification for one belief, which is unipolar unification and is a non-neutral coexistence of all beliefs of unification. So mathematical unification falls into this, and that's why mathematical unification is not scientific unification. And then we quantify them by Peace rule that quantify the relationship between all beliefs of unification. Now, the outcome is number one, scientific unification for all beliefs, multipolar science, and then unification for one belief, which is mathematical unification or the standard model. Okay, so really two different unifications clearly described quantitatively, objectively in our new grand unification theory. Importance of scientific standard, very important. First of all, there is a double standard for all existing Western sciences. That is, a quantitative standard for science of interactions of nature that include quantitative standard for math, quantitative standard for physics, and all other natural sciences. On the other hand, it's a qualitative standard for science of interactions of humans. That's the case for social sciences such as political science, international relations, economics, and other social sciences. So that's why you have a double standard applied to all existing Western sciences. Now, unified scientific standard is the scientific standard of multipolarity, very important. That's unified all sciences of all interactions of nature and humans. One important consequence is elimination of double standard entirely. And basically, we're claiming this is the only way to eliminate double standard for all Western sciences by unifying all sciences under single unified scientific standard. Lastly, we found it is the only way to judge the characteristic of mathematics and other natural sciences to determine whether it's a science or something else by unified scientific standard. Now, unification comparison. So current unification, the standard model is mathematical unification. It's a unification of mathematical beliefs of interactions of nature for one math belief. It's unified by a mathematical standard for unified mathematical belief of nature for one mathematical belief, quantum field theory. Now, in comparison, scientific unification is a unification of science of interactions of nature and science of interactions of humans for all beliefs. And it's unified by scientific standard of multipolarity for unified scientific belief of nature and humans for all beliefs. Very important. Conclusions. Number one, discovery of existing unification, that is, the standard model, is mathematical unification, not scientific unification, for one mathematical belief, quantum field theory. Number two, we present a new unification that is truly called scientific unification because it's unification of all sciences of fundamental interactions of nature and humans for all beliefs. Unified standard for science is the only way to eliminate double standard entirely. Unified scientific standard to determine the scientific characteristics of mathematics and physics. This is the only way to determine the scientific characteristics of math and physics and other natural sciences. Lastly, we claim it is fundamental human right for scientific unification, equal and fair for everyone and all beliefs. That is fundamental human right. In comparison, the mathematical unification cannot be claimed as fundamental human right because it is not for everyone and all beliefs. Thank you.